Hello and welcome to the Mets in the UK podcast. My name's Tracy. I'm joined today by the beautiful Toria. How you doing, my love?
I am good, thank you, my darling. 2 weeks away.
Not long till opening day now. Not that we're
We've had awesome spring training.
yeah.
Not enough
Speaking
of
of,
it.
well, no, probably not enough of it televised for our liking, but we'll just have to make the most of what we have got. Speaking of spring training and all things Mets, we are joined today by the newest member of the coaching staff for the St. Lucie Mets, bench coach Jonathan Cramman. How you doing, my love?
I'm doing fantastic, guys. Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it.
We appreciate you giving up your one day off for spending some time with us. We really, really do.
Of course. Any excuse to talk baseball.
Love it, love it. So, I'm just going to go over a little bit about you, if you don't mind. Don't blush too much. So
We're so excited to have you.
we are. So last year you were named the European Baseball Coach of the Year for your work with GB under 23s. And in 2023, you were part of the GB coaching staff for the World Baseball Classic. How? Why?
I ask myself that how question every day. I started playing baseball in North London when I was 8 years old. My mum actually was the founder of the London Mets Baseball Club. So joined the softball club over in Finsbury Park, and mum turned it into a baseball club. And kind of 10 minutes into my first time with a glove on my hand, an all-encompassing obsession began that has taken me to the sunnier climates of Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Amazing. So, Tor, I know you wanted to ask about something about the
We
World
do.
Baseball
We have,
Classic.
yeah, I love the WBC. I cheat a little bit because I get to support the same last time actually. I get to support two teams because I'm also part Italian.
Va bene.
So I am beside myself for tonight. But I really enjoyed GB's performances. I think that I don't think the results have necessarily reflected the performances. So I was really pleased that we got the result the other night because I think that was a really good reflection of what we were capable of. How do you find the development of that between 2023, when it was still relatively new, and this time around when the first thing that I said as soon as we won the other night was amazing because now we know that we're already qualified. So that in itself will help with funding and focus and preparation. And we had that last time as well. Do you think that has played a part in how it's grown? And if you look at the roster that we had this time around, it was pretty stacked.
Yeah, undoubtedly. I think it's kind of multifaceted. How it's changed for us and how it's going to be better moving forward. I think in 2023, we qualified for the 23 WBC in late September, early October 2022. And whilst we expected to qualify because we were an ambitious group, we were too busy planning the qualifier to plan the classic.
Yeah.
So I can definitely remember getting home from Regensburg, kind of kissing my wife on the forehead and saying, "I'll see you in 7 months," type of thing, because we knew that we had a lot to do to get us ready for Phoenix in 2023, and a lot shorter time than our competitors to do it. So that's absolutely a huge bonus, and knowing that we'll be in the main draw for the 2030 qualification, 2030 tournament means that the planning, and it takes a lot of planning, can begin immediately for those guys who are on that staff currently. And then I think past that, it's just getting used to the level. It's just getting used to the bright lights and the speed of the game. 2023 was a lot of firsts, and we had a lot of questions that maybe teams who have more experience in that tournament wouldn't have had. So with 2 of those tournaments under our belt now, we've got a really good base of knowledge on how it works logistically, how it works on the field, and tournament baseball is very different to regular season baseball, and it's something I talk about a lot. For the national team, you only ever coaching players. There is no regular season in international baseball. So kind of realizing what the level of intensity is like, even though it's 4 games. So yeah, it's absolutely huge, and that's before we talk about the financial or cultural ramifications that it has for the program.
Indeed. One of the first questions that we had, we touched on that you were part of that coaching team at the WBC. Stony 337 on Blue Sky asked, how does one start a career in coaching? So I was thinking, how about we start with your journey first? You mentioned obviously your love of baseball started back as an 8-year-old, but how did that go from being a love of the game to a career, and you ultimately ending up now at our beloved St. Lucie Mets?
That's a really good question. I think I was always a baseball coach. It just so happened that I was 11, and so I had to play. I couldn't coach.
Love that.
Yeah, I certainly always had a thirst for the intricacies of the game from a very young age, and I was very fortunate to have the honor of playing for our national team before I coached for it, and was most definitely the least talented player on that roster. But I was able to survive because I maybe saw things happen a little bit earlier than other people, because I had to. It was the only plus tool I had as a baseball player was my brain, was my mind. I started coaching very, very, very young. My first time coaching adults, I was 16.
Wow.
And I helped run the London Mets first baseball for beginners program, and then coached our single A team as a 16-year-old, which was an interesting experience because 35-year-olds that work in finance, and they've got some 16-year-old from North London telling them how to hold a bat. But it's something that I was actually talking to a colleague about the other day. I'm not sure I enjoyed a game of baseball as a player after the age of 15 years old, because I just put so much pressure on myself to succeed. And when I did succeed as a player, it was relief. And when I failed, it was like abject devastation. As a coach, when my guys succeed, when my colleagues succeed, when my team does something good, when we work on something and it happens in the game, it elicits that feeling of joy that the 8-year-old me had the first time he found a barrel and hit a line drive. So worked with the London Mets for years as a travel ball coach of our really successful youth program back then. And then in 2019, Jason Pierce, who I'll forever be indebted to, offered me the job as the U15 manager for the national team, and took that on. My great friend Drew Spencer, I'm sure you guys know, offered me the job as the hitting coach on the U23s that same year. And I got to the end of 2019, and I remember having a really seminal chat with my wife, Beth Downey, and a really good friend of mine, Sam Sproul, that I grew up playing with, and telling them both, I think I want this to be my career, and I'm going to have to do other jobs along the way to make that happen, because the bills have to be paid, right?
Yes.
But it was from 2019 where I realized, if I can turn this into a career, I'll never work another day in my life.
That's lovely.
Thank you.
And it's great that your wife is so supportive of you. I know you've said on your personal social media how grateful and thankful you are for her. She's
the best. She's the MVP every day. We've been together now, 12 years. And when we got together, I was still playing. I was 23, and I was deep into trying to play for the national team. And I remember telling her a couple of months in, hey, this thing's kind of getting serious, we were spending more time with each other. It's feeling more and more like a serious relationship, and baseball's always going to come first. And I need to tell you that, because it's only fair that I do, and I don't want to get down the road and, you feel hurt, because it's such a priority in my life. And she said on that day that she could deal with that, and she's fulfilled that promise to a T. She's an absolute superstar.
Is she going to get the opportunity to come over and see you in Florida?
She is, yes. So the Mets are an incredible organization. They look after their staff at an unbelievable level. So they have a small travel budget that will allow Beth to fly back and forward a couple of times, and it won't come out of our pocket. So she'll be here for the end of spring training. She'll be here for opening day and probably her birthday. So yeah, she'll be over a lot. And she's Australian, so this 30-degree weather that's absolutely right now will really suit her.
And that's so great that the Mets can look after you like that and allow you and your family to be together despite her living over here and you working over there. How are you settling in?
To be honest with you, my life has pretty much been the hotel room that you see behind me in our facility for the last 17 days since I've been here. There's a Chili's restaurant about 150 yards that way that I've frequented a couple of times, but it's really the only part of St. Lucie that I've really seen is the mile-long drive from our hotel to the field and back. But from what I can tell and from what my colleagues have told me, it's a pretty beautiful place to live, and certainly somewhere that that little boy from Haringey, North London, never would have dreamed living in.
We've got another question from Shay Parking Lot on Twitter. He wants to know, do you encourage players to take time off during the off season from strenuous exercise? It seems like players are always lifting, throwing and running all year round and not letting their bodies rest and recover from the season, especially their elbows.
Yeah, so in terms of on a personal level, my own personal philosophy and ethos, yes, you need time away for the body and the brain to reset. Those decisions for the organization are made by people a lot smarter than I am. But our coordinators and rehab coaches and all the people that are involved in that process do a really, really good job managing the players' workloads and looking after them from a mental, physical, emotional well-being standpoint. So yes, it's something that's important to me personally, and it's also a philosophy that the organization does an amazing job of crushing.
Would you say that you think that like the holistic approach, like the mental and emotional everything, would you say that's as important as the physical approach?
I think it's more important, to be honest with you. I think a Formula One car is only good as the base it's built on, and it can have the best engine in the world, but if the wheels and the suspension aren't healthy, then that car isn't going to go anywhere. So you have to have a happy, healthy person to have a happy, healthy ball player. So for me, it's kind of the be all and end all. You have to look after the emotional well-being of the person in front of you before you can even think about coaching them.
It's a really good outlook, because it is in sport in general. I think it's becoming more prevalent now. I think that people are understanding that. I think previously it's been very much, if you have the physical attributes, you should be performing well, and without really looking at what's behind that. I think now there is a lot more. I say now, I mean, it's all relative, right? I'm thinking kind of the past kind of 10, 12 years or so, it's become much more prevalent, where people can talk about that, and people are open to talking about how things impact them in a mental way, and talking about their mental health and taking that time for themselves as well, and being clear that they are taking that time for themselves and not apologizing for it. Because I think that's something that people still do. I'm sorry, I'm taking an hour for myself. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, don't be sorry. You need to do this. It's fine.
Yeah, it's I think there's a couple of streams here, right? There's like a moral stream, and then there's a performance stream. I think from a moral standpoint, people need to be happy and healthy, just in general. I just believe that about everyone, whether they're an athlete or not. But also from a performance standpoint, the data is really, really clear that players that get clear rest periods and allow the brain and the body to reset are able to maintain peak performance for longer and at a higher level. So it's a no-brainer, and I can certainly attest in the short time I've been here that the club does an absolutely world-class job on making sure that happens.
That's really great to hear.
Yes. And you talk of performance. You have only been around for a couple of weeks around camp. Is there anyone that you've noted so far that we should be keeping an eye out for? We don't need specifics of why, but names that we might hear.
Lots. I'll say there's lots. The pitching department are incredible and do an amazing job. I work on the offensive and defensive side, so in our inter squads every day we're going up against these monsters that our pitching department is doing, and I certainly know how difficult they are to prepare just for a backfield inter squad. So I can't imagine what our opponents are going to go through up and down the levels this year. In terms of individuals, I've been impressed by so many people. I honestly wouldn't want to name one because then I'd want to name all of them. And we don't have that long for this podcast. I guess the one that I guess I will say one just to give you a proper answer and feel like I've answered it is we've been really fortunate to have Elian Pena in camp.
Yeah, I've seen some of the bits and pieces.
Yeah, he's a very, very, very talented young man and also a wonderful young person to be around. So don't get me wrong, I want to talk about a bunch of other kids, and I'm annoyed that Marco Vargas and Eli Serrano and Jairo Cuevas, and don't get me going because I will. I will name a lot of kids. But yeah, there's a lot of talent here, and they're working incredibly hard every day to get themselves to Queens and then to help us win baseball games.
We've noted it numerous times on this podcast over the last probably couple of years now, how improved our farm system has been overall, and how you've seen that quality improve and come through, and from all the way through, and they've been having great records and winning awards, and we've had some star players, and we've got the progression of the players through now. We were having this discussion, I think, at the end of last year, right, where for years and years and years people have been moaning that the Wilpons were selling the farm. We had no farm system because any potential star that we had got flogged off, and now we're getting to a point where we're starting to see some of what was built 4 or 5 years ago, since Steve came in and was like, no, we are going to focus on this. And we're starting to see them kind of creep through now. So it's a really exciting period, I think. I think there are more eyes now. We certainly keep an eye out, obviously, on the farm system. But there are a lot more eyes, I think, in general now, because people are starting to believe in what it can deliver and actually feel like they can get attached to these guys at this point, whereas previously you wouldn't bother because you know the odd name, but you know that name, it because it's going to go. Whereas now you can start to kind of get invested in these guys and see them come through, which I think is really, really exciting. And as the team are doing better, the big league team are doing better, of course, that helps to attract the youngsters lower down as well. So it's really good, and I'm really pleased. I know you want to name them all, but I'm really pleased that actually you picked out Pena, because he's one that we've seen a fair bit about the last couple of weeks. So it's good.
Yeah, the hype is real. He's very, very good at baseball.
Amazing.
That's what we want to hear. Because, like Tori says, 10 years ago there was no farm system to speak of, and the difference is absolutely night and day. And it makes us excited about what's to come in the future.
Yeah, and I think again it speaks to, like, there's obviously a lot of departments in a Major League Baseball team. There's lots of different people whose remit is different. I just think it speaks to the level of excellence that exists here all around. That scouting does an amazing job identifying players, and player development does an amazing job getting these guys up to where they need to be. And it's a real group effort, and I often think about the amount of hands that are on a player in any given day, between coaches, coordinators, the cafeteria staff, the trainers, the strength coaches, the psychologists, and it's a massive group effort. And like, I haven't been here very long, and I don't have a frame of reference with another club, but I feel very, very fortunate and honored to play a very, very, very small part in that process.
It's an integral part. And do you get that feeling of the connection between the big league club, the franchise as a whole, and St. Lucie?
Yeah, undoubtedly the big league coaching staff do a really, really amazing job making sure that our coordinators feed messages down to us on how they want things done. A couple of those guys from the staff have come over to the minor league side and said hello since I've been here. So,
wow.
Like found myself on a backfield the other day having a chat with Tim Leaper, our third base coach at the big league level, and just pretty awesome that happens and that connection happens. So yeah, there is a real close connection, and we see some of the big league guys over on our side, on the minor league side. Sometimes they're playing in backfield games, or some of those guys who have recently been sent to the majors, who have recently been at that level. They like to come back and just say hi to the guys that they used to play with. So there's a real synergistic relationship there, and again, it speaks to the caliber of human being in the building that happens really naturally and without it being forced.
That's lovely. I think it's really great for both for the coaching side of things as well, to be getting the experience of the guys in the big leagues, but also aspirationally, I guess, for those in St. Lucie to be able to see that and feel that they are still part of, because that's what I've often wondered about, is how big a part do they feel of that bigger picture? Is it very clear that they are part of that organization? So it's really good. It's really encouraging to hear that.
Yeah, we were playing an intra-squad on one of the backfields the other day that actually faces the spring training stadium. And it was the day the Yankees were in town. It was a sellout, 7,000 fans in seats. And it was kind of cool listening to the oohs and ahs from the stadium while our guys were getting their work in to get to the stadium. And I thought about, if I was a player right now hearing those noises, it would really motivate me to work double hard today to make sure I got to play in front of that crowd.
100%. You mentioned the Yankees. We've had a bit of a cheeky question from our Gav at Backflips and Nerds. We love Gav. Yeah, and also, I mean, slight side note, I do have to give a massive shout out to all the guys at Backflips and MLB Clubhouse UK for everything that they've been doing, particularly over the WBC, all of the coverage and updates that they've been giving. Well done, guys. Keep it up, as always. But Gav asks, how glad are you that the Mets don't have a hair policy?
Yeah. So the hair and the beard are actually, this is a true story. The hair and the beard exists for the wife. She loves it. She was born, she's a little older than me. She was born in '86, and she grew up listening to grunge. And during COVID, when none of us could get our hair cut, my hair grew a little long and my beard grew a little out. And she was like, "Yeah, I think I like that." So it remained. It wouldn't have been an issue, but it's certainly nice that I get to keep it. And then, kind of doubling down on what we were talking about before we hit record, I've been getting absolutely cooked to a crisp every day in the Florida sun out here on the backfields. So glad I have something to cover the back of my neck and my face a little bit. SPF 70 isn't working right now.
Wow.
So every time we have a new guest on, we ask them 3 questions. They're not particularly thinky, don't worry. So the first one is, you're given access to Uncle Steve's checkbook, and you can spend that money however you like. So if you're given access to Steve Cohen's bank account, how do you spend it?
I'd probably go to Manor House where I grew up and buy everyone a house and a car and look after everyone that I grew up with. I'm not particularly money doesn't particularly motivate me, and I don't really mind about houses and cars for myself. But yeah, I'd probably cut a bunch of checks for my friends and family and let them go on the best holidays and have what they deserve.
Amazing. Do you have a favourite Mets player, past and present?
Probably Keith Hernandez from past.
Tori is a big Keith fan.
Right. Well, I was a left-handed first baseman that walked a lot, and definitely got given some Keith Hernandez comparisons when I was a player.
Oh yeah.
Present, I love every single one of our players presently, and I think that they're awesome. So I'm not going to single anyone out. I think we've got a great group on the entire 40-man roster.
We have, and we're so lucky to have them all. Especially when you compare it to like 10 years ago, and you think of the amount of talent that was wasted. And now we've got these guys that are choosing to come to the Mets and play for our colours, and yeah, it's amazing. And do you have a favourite Mets moment at all?
No, because I didn't grow up a fan of the club, so
Okay.
I can't point to a singular moment from Mets history. I will say that
it could be something that you've done in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'll give you two answers then. I think growing up, I loved watching Carlos Delgado hit home runs.
Yes.
And so anytime I think of a Mets uniform, I think of a few players, right? Like Carlos Delgado, David Wright, Jose Reyes, Keith Hernandez. So probably just Carlos Delgado demolishing a ball 500 feet at Shea Stadium probably stands out. From the last couple of weeks, we've had a couple of the big leaguers join us on some backfield games, and one of my jobs with St. Lucie this year is first base coach. So I've been coaching first base in some games. So had some at bats in the last few weeks where a bona fide major league superstar has jogged down to me after a walk and handed me his elbow guard and his shin guard, and definitely a small pinch me moment.
100%.
That's so cool. I can't imagine, like you say, going from little 8-year-old you playing in Finsbury Park to playing at Clover, like coaching at Clover, and having that moment with the big leaguer.
Yeah, I actually had dinner last night with some of my under-23 coaches who've been hired by the Nationals down in West Palm Beach. They're only 40 minutes down the road.
Oh, amazing.
And on the way home, I texted Jeremy Sheetinger, who is my third base coach, and he's the complex coordinator for the Nats. And I said to him, man, how cool would 12-year-old us think that adult us are, that this is our lives?
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that I'm very cognizant of and think about every day.
The Brits are taking over. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
British invasion too.
Yeah. So I think that's about us done with our questions, unless you've got anything else, Tor?
Our Jo got a last minute one in.
She did? Okay.
She did. Jo couldn't join us, but she sent us a last one. She said, what has impressed you most about the Mets organization so far? And are you now an honorary Mets in the UK member?
The thing that's impressed me the most about the Mets so far has been the caliber of human being. I think the technology that we have is obviously amazing, and we do have some amazing tech. Just been blown away by the level of intelligence and the how welcome I've been made to feel, and that's from top to bottom. That's from everyone from department leaders, coordinators, to my fellow coaches, to even the people that work in our canteen are just like super hardworking, lovely people, and they always greet you with a smile and look after you greatly. Our clubhouse attendants absolutely crush it every day and look after us. So it's really been kind of life affirming a little bit to realize that you can find places where literally every single person you meet is there for the right reasons, and is just a really good human being. So that's what's impressed me the most. It's just the humans.
What answer that is.
Yes, I am now an honorary Mets in the UK fan.
Yay.
I'm also I'm quite a passionate human being, quite a passionate baseball coach, quite a passionate man. And if I'm with the team, I'm with them. So I'm now a New York Mets fan and couldn't care less about 29 other baseball teams. Hope they lose every game.
Yes.
Amazing. That's what we like to hear.
and grew up a fan of an unnamed NL East team that shall not be mentioned, and hate those guys now with a passion. Um, so yeah, I'm a Met all the way for everything.
So your home back in the UK is now going to be blue and orange, is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, actually, so my wife is a big fan of the blue and orange. She wasn't sure when I first, because that was one of her first questions, right? When I told her I got the job, she was like, "What colors do they wear?" But now that she's seen it, she's all about it. So yes, blue and orange all the way, and we're getting rid of all those other colors.
That's what we like to
Like
hear.
to hear. See, we like it so much. We both said it.
And can I just say, I'm really jealous of your 2026 spring training cap.
Yeah, it's a good job Joe's not able to join us, because she would be very upset with you right now.
Thank you. Well, so one of those seminal little boy moments that I've had is when I arrived in the clubhouse on my first day and saw my locker, and
Yeah.
saw all of the gear that we get.
Yeah.
And again, the Mets do just an amazing job at looking after us from that standpoint. We have some coaches that have been with some other teams, and they're like, "Man, it wasn't like that over there."
Yeah.
Wasn't meant to have this hat today. We played the Cardinals on the road yesterday, and as I said, when I got done, I went and had dinner instead of returning to the facility. So, just happens to have it on me, and said, as I'm going to be talking to the guys, let me throw it on. But yeah, I'll see if there's any laying around in the back when spring's over, and try and get one.
Well, I know a certain person, Joe, that would absolutely love
that.
Yeah, she's obsessed with them, honestly.
They are lovely hats. They are absolutely beautiful hats. And one of my favorite details is on the inside, you guys might not be able to see it, it says Port St. Lucie.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
It's such
I love that detail.
Cool little detail, but it kind of speaks to just like how everything here is just world class across like top to bottom.
I love that. I think I may have to try and acquire myself one. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much again for using your one day off on us. We really appreciate it.
We do. Thank you.
Of course, not a problem. It's anything to do with the UK and baseball I want to help out with, and I think we focus a lot on like on the field, which is obviously important, but things like this, podcasts, just media platforms that can help spread the game are vitally important. So if one person becomes a fan of baseball because they found your podcast, then you're contributing to the betterment of our game. So I'm all about it.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. That's made my Wednesday. It is Wednesday, isn't it?
It is Wednesday.
Yeah, it's fun because we're normally on Tuesdays.
If it isn't Wednesday, I'm in a lot of trouble because I should have been at work.
So yeah, that's us done. All that leaves us to say is let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.